Did you know that you eat the equivalent of one plastic credit card a week? Plastic, this poorly chemical material created by man, has invaded our oceans. Every year, no less than 8 million tons of plastic are discarded. That's why the Space Poulpe team has decided to invest in the preservation of our oceans and to fight against plastic pollution of our maritime space with the project the Fishin Poulpe. Our goal is simple: locate the macroplastic present in coasts and oceans from space data and make our oceans great again. Many actors are interested in the localization of marine plastic. There are fishermen and private fishing companies looking to optimize the quantity of fish caught and reduce the risk of ending up with plastic waste. There are also many NGOs that are actively campaigning against plastic pollution of the oceans and seas by acting directly and which need more information. Pollution that has serious consequences on marine species and destroys ecosystems. Finally, there are public actors like states, regions, or cities which fight against plastic poisoning of waters. Actually, the goal is to respond to the various demands of the actors in the field by democratizing the location of plastic and thus enabling them to act effectively on recovery and recycling. We are responding to real issues in obtaining and the interpretation of satellite data. The Fishin Poulpe then links collectors, recyclers, and company manufacturing a final product.
At Space Poulpe, we are experts in image processing and artificial intelligence. We manage to detect plastic litter from space images and more the density or the type of plastic. To do that, we need quite special images called hyperspectral images. The idea is simple. Instead of having only 3 components of red, green and blue, we could have here between a dozen and a few hundred components corresponding to different wavelengths. Thanks to those new wavelengths, we have more information about what we are able to see in the image. For the ActInSpace challenge, we decided to use Sentinel-2 images from ESA, which are hyperspectral images with 10 to 20 meter resolution. This quite good resolution, in addition to the spectral components, is enough to detect plastic. We managed to detect plastic pixels using some image processing techniques on hyperspectral images, or maybe something that reflects similarly as plastic, even if we can't see it with the naked eyes. Now, we plan to use some algorithms such as spectral unmixing or clustering, and then we would like to generalize plastic litter detection and its characterization with deep learning.
Thanks to these different techniques, we have managed to value our satellite images. We now have a set of precise data from which we can extract plastic location within our oceans. We are thus going to provide 3 distinct services. Initially, we will be able to provide processed and labeled data in the form of a dataset via a subscription. Then, we know data is essential for the location of plastic in our oceans. This enables us to provide a strong support for the collection of plastic, firstly on the coasts, but also on the open sea. In this way, we bring together the various players involved in the recycling and recovery of plastic. On the one hand, local government, NGOs, Environmental Protection Association, and on the other, the entire industry involved in plastic processing and recovery. This geolocation data is also of interest for fishermen. It allows them to either contribute to the collection of plastic or to avoid areas of high contamination. It thus reduces the risk of catching fish that could be poisoned by plastic or microplastics. All our data will be available on our website for professional use only. Finally, we want to raise awareness about this growing cause. Thanks to a web application available free of charge to the general public, we can provide regularly updated data on the plastics detected on the coast. People can thus become aware of the extent of the problem and participate in the cleanup of the coasts. We will also create and sell our branded product, L'Impair, a raincoat, which can be useful in the marine environment. This product will of course be made from recycled plastic and will allow us to make ourselves known.
You're probably wondering how we're going to launch our projects? Well, we already have a young and dynamic team motivated by the challenge of cleaning up the oceans. Our team is made up of 5 future engineers, competent and passionate about technological challenges. One of our strongest points is that we're going to start a proof of concept through a scholar project at IMT Atlantic, which is our French engineering school. Indeed, thanks to a partnership with the CNES, our aim is to launch a nanosatellite for maritime observation by 2023. So we already have some of the means and partnerships needed in order to make a proof of concept at a regional scale. We then hope to be able to launch our project at a national and why not international scale. We have already started the first step. We are studying AI techniques for plastic detection and we applied them on Sentinel-2 images as it was presented earlier in our presentation. Thanks to this work, we will, among other things, highlight the essential characteristics that our future multispectral camera must have. Then we will launch our satellite with the camera we have chosen, and we'd like to create a partnership with Junior Atlantic, which is the junior enterprise of IMT Atlantic. This entity will enable us to gradually and efficiently establish our structure. Indeed, by giving certain missions to IMT Atlantic students, we will continue to improve our algorithm while we will be able to develop our applications and websites, and we'll be able to build our first partnerships with various entities in Brittany. Those entities could be more focused on either collecting plastic in the oceans or recycling it. The structure of Junior Atlantic will allow us to involve several students from IMT Atlantic in our project, each of whom will be able to bring a valuable contribution to the project. As you can see, this regional launch phase will be essential in building a solid foundation for our project in both technical and commercial domains.
Once this base is established, that the technological locks have been lifted and that we got our first partners, we will be able to develop on a larger scale and form a startup that will be incubated at the IMT Atlantic. To do this, we have established a long-term business model which is divided into 9 categories that bring together key partners such as CLS, key activities and resources, value proposition, customer relationships and segmentation, distribution channels, the cost structure, and in particular, the revenues generated by our activity. Indeed, once launched, our activity will allow us to generate revenues and will then be able to perpetuate our actions. Thus, there are 4 main sources of revenue. First of all, the sale of our processed data, that is to say, the data set which have been created, via a subscription by geographical area and by month or year. Please note if that customers do not reach a subscription, they can pay by unit, but it will be more expensive. Moreover, the sale of the raincoats, which cost 199 per unit and which will be able be a symbol of our actions, since it will be a proof that plastic can be recovered from the oceans and recycled. What's more, the subscription to platform access. To finish, investors and companies who wish to commit and communicate their commitment to ocean cleanup, for example, to give themselves a better image. Thus, we will be able to make our octopus happy and healthy in its environment.